The United Nations Conference on Trade and Development is a permanent intergovernmental body established by the United Nations General Assembly in 1964. It is part of the UN Secretary. Its headquarters are located in Geneva, Switzerland, and also has offices in New York and Ethiopia. The Secretary General is Mukisha Kituji. The UN General Assembly approved his nomination on June of 2013 for a term of 4 years.
The First United Nations Conference on Trade and Development was held in Geneva in 1964. The first Secretary General was the prominent Argentinian economist Raúl Prebisch. During this time, UNCTAD launched the next agreements: the Generalized System of Preference in 1968, International Commodities Agreements, the Convention on a Code of Conduct for Liner Conference, the Control of Restricted Business Practices. This later evolved into the Trade and Competition Policies. During this time, a number of developing countries were plunged into severe debt crisis. For this reason, the 80s became known as the lost decade. In the light of these problems, UNCTAD multiplied efforts aimed at increasing its activities to assist developing countries. UNCTAD assists developing countries in the rescheduling of official debt in the Paris Club negotiations, organized the first UN conference on less developed countries. UNCTAD, in its 10th conference held in Bangkok in 2000, adopted the spirit of Bangkok as a strategy to address the development agenda in a globalizing world.
The organization has three important functions. First, it acts as a forum between governments, receiving counsel from experts, sharing experiences, and trying to reach agreements in the international trade rules. They also conduct researches and collect data for the forum experts and representatives of the government to use in these discussions. And their most important function is to give technical assistance to developing countries of the world. This help is personalized to each country, making use of the experts and data held by the organization. Their main activities include creating and modifying macroeconomical policies so they can adapt to the changing world, and how transport and customs work between different borders. They also try to integrate the commerce and basic products from the countries that most need it in the international stage, and they help find investment in technology and local companies of the developing countries.
Partnerships. The organization can achieve better results and greater impact when they coordinate their efforts with other partners. For this reason, has deepened cooperation with other international organizations to enhance their policies and practices at the national, regional, and global levels. With the UN system, UNCTAD is one of the only UN bodies with direct relevance to all targets within Goal 17. Is member of the UNDG and have led a mechanism dedicated to the coordination of trade and development operation at the national and regional levels within the UN system. UNCTAD and the Geneva-based trade institutions. The organization's activities are complementary. The WTO governs global trade rules and adjudications. The ITC's focus is to connect small and medium enterprises to global markets, whereas UNCTAD deals with trade policies. UNCTAD and strategic partnerships. As you see, it has many strategic partnerships of different sectors with a common feature. They are aimed at deepening cooperation and promoting joint delivery. Also is among organizations involved in and providing input to the G20, including finance, investment, trade and development. Consensus building with other organizations. All of them have gained accreditation as observers to UNCTAD's Trade and Development Board. Through increased communication and participation, observers can constructively contribute to the fulfillment of the goals.
Principal achievement was to implement the GSP, Generalized System of Preference, to promote export of manufactured goods from developing countries, offering a special tariff concession to those exports such as duty-free or reduced rates in the developed countries, generating competitive advantage between their products. Another goal achieved is tariff reclassification integrated program on commodities, in which it was dealt to create a common fund in order to stabilize the price of primary products, and the initial contribution to this fund was $750 million. Also, reducing debit border and commodity development facility in order to benefit in terms of processing, marketing skill, and products adaptation in manufacturing facilities for developed countries.